thank you very much for staying with us. Now we'll move now to the discussion segment, but before then we have the story that says Lagos State Commissioner of Police CP Idowu Owohunwa has called on Lagosians to collaborate with security agents in the state to ensure the security of life and property. The CP in a stakeholders meeting said the command is working tirelessly to ensure that the state is safe at all time. Folarin Falana called on the Commissioner of Police to charge all those arrested during last Saturday election to court for proper prosecution as to serve as deterrents to others. The human rights lawyer called on the Independent National Electoral Commission in Lagos to distribute election materials well on time in the governorship and state houses of assembly to avoid unnecessary tension. Other stakeholders also insisted on the prosecution of those who perpetrated irregularities during the elections. They also appreciated the Commissioner of Police for the town hall meeting on ways to achieve proper security in the state. The stakeholders meeting was attended by senior police officer, legal practitioner, traditional rulers, artists, media organizations, among others.
Lagos State has the best in terms of policing structure in this country. We only have to cap it up by trying to mend the trust gap. So I did announce that I will set up what I call police citizens town hall. And why I'm raising it is that maybe when we meet, she has also assured me, and Ogatu has assured me that they will support me in coming up with the framework. So it's continuous. My take is that it has to be a monthly engagement.
I am opposed personally to the involvement of soldiers in monitoring elections. And this is based on several decisions of our courts that under a democratic society, it is the duty of the police to police the society. And I must confess to you that many people were not happy over the management of elections last Saturday. And I was embarrassed when I was told that in certain places, soldiers had to be brought in to allow and create an enabling environment for people to vote. I wasn't happy because I have been campaigning that the police should manage our elections, provide security for people who want to vote.
I want to appeal to all our youths. I know that there's bottled up anger. There's the only alternative. We are talking about justice, fairness, and equity. But the only alternative is for us to sit down as we are seated here, sit on the round table, and your grievances will be made known.
For anyone thinking of causing unrest or insecurity anywhere in the country because of election, the Commissioner of Police and the rest of the team, the senior advocates, and all the human rights communities that came together in order to attend this particular program is saying no to war, no to state of insecurity, no to anything that will cause us to begin to suspect one another. No. I started by saying that I came from Abia and I have lived in Lagos for more than 30-something years. And the greatest friends I have in this particular state are the Yorubas. I have many friends also who are the Hausas. And so there is no problem between the common people from every tribe in Nigeria. But whenever there is issue of politics, they think they can use politics to divide us. And we are saying, no, we can never be divided.
I just want to report that our people are afraid. They are scared. Up to today, if you go to Ladipo, it's locked up. All the markets are locked up, and we ask them to lock up the market. Because anytime there is riot, it is our people that do this. The shops are looted, and sometimes many of them are injured and are killed. So I want to ask the police commissioner to please use your good of faith to protect our people.
so many different of these meetings, so many different fora, stakeholders, call them together, let's talk, let's meet. And I really sincerely hope that after the elections, I won't look back on this as merely ceremonial, as a performative meeting. I really hope that there's something different that the police intend to tell us in order to reassure everyone that if they come out on Saturday to cast their votes, their lives and their ballots will be protected to the T. Because we saw numerous videos where police officers themselves were actually in connivance with these people that were carrying out these electoral crimes. Also, are we getting assurances that electoral officers that are refusing to comply with what the law states as per transmission of results, are we getting any assurances that they will be arrested for interfering with the process of the law?
So when I say signs of good faith, you said you have some of these criminals in custody. Some of these criminals that came to disenfranchise Lagosians. They are still in custody. But a Lagosian that just came out to exercise his right to protest is bundled up that day, beaten up, taken to the police, tried that same day, taken to court. Everything happened that same day. But criminals are still in custody.
All right, thanks for staying with us. That's a soundbite there coming from the CP, who met with stakeholders, those in the legal industry, entertainment industry, media, and what have you, trying to make preparations, proper preparations rather, towards the forthcoming governorship elections. We just hope that things go down well as they are actually planning. But then before we start reacting to this video, we have a guest here who will be taking us through the topic of the day, which is the Igbo leader condemned attack on traders in Lagos. We're aware that some major markets in Lagos and outside Lagos, you know, have been shut down for reasons we do not really understand. But then we have a guest in the studio, still the same guest, Mr. Debo Adebayo, who is the public affairs analyst.
Litigation.
All right, so we have him in the studio who will be helping us make sense out of this. Welcome once again, sir.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thanks for staying with us.
Oh, well.
All right, so we're talking about the Igbo traders. You are aware that there's been riot in some of these places and the market's been shut down as a result of all of this. What's your reactions to this? How do you really see things of this nature?
I've been a victim of tribalism. In 1985, as a copper in Ondo State, I met a girl from Kano State. Her name, Hazana, I won't forget the name, a Muslim from a place called Janguza. We became friends in the camp and we were thinking of getting married after NYC. So I went to look for her in that place. The moment they saw me, she probably didn't tell them that this guy is a Yoruba and a Christian. The moment I got there and I couldn't speak Hausa, problem number one. And then every little thing I would say, God bless you, God bless you. That reflected my faith as being a Christian. The Papa didn't hide his resentment, not for anything, but because I'm a Yoruba and a Christian, a staunch Muslim and a Northerner. So that was the end of that relationship. Imagine living Abeokuta and going that far. I would have lost my life on that trip, but it was important to me. But ethnicity and tribalism truncated what will have happened. That's a personal experience. So I can tell you that each time people talk about Igbo, Yoruba, it doesn't resonate with me. Because one-on-one, we all relate. One-on-one, we relate. We intermarry, we meet in church, we meet in program, my parties, and we flow. I have spent about 4 Christmas seasons in a village called Okwahedi, very close to Esenifite in Inewi South of Anambra State. I followed my friend Martin Sinegbu for Christmas. I left my family in Abeokuta. Now, if I wasn't safe in his company, I wouldn't have followed him. There are so many examples you can give. My best friend today is not from Abeokuta. He's not even from the Southwest. And this, so each time you see these things happen, it touches the wrong chord in me. Why? Because if I had married from the Igbo land, and then now they say they are attacking Igbo traders, when we will get to other Igbos, I will not know.
But then
the care is not taken, I might end up becoming a widower.
Just a moment, sir. The question again is, why is it that the Igbos should be going through this when again it is not, so to speak, their own candidate that emerged as the presidential winner of the election?
What we are witnessing, they are still part of the fallout from the Civil War that presumably ended in 1970. But the wounds of the Civil War are still very fresh. And without provocation, we easily go and tug at the wound and then refresh the wound, and then the pain comes back. We've all, by now, after over 60 years of independence, I think we should have gotten it right. But to the extent that your neighbor could be from the southeast, the one here from the northwest. But when it comes to politics, the average politicians have their ways of playing the card, ethnic card. Sometimes they bring a religion into it, and then you guys now become enemies. No nation will develop or grow on those, when you are treading those paths. We should by now have integrated. Each time these things happen, it negates the idea behind National Youth Service.
Do you think this is politically motivated?
Well, before now, there might have been skirmishes and clashes, which is normal in any human settlement. But to a large extent, after the Rwanda experience between the Hutsis and the Tutsis, which became so bad that Hutsis husbands that had Tutsi wives slaughtered their wives at the altar of ethnic rivalry. Today, almost 19, 20 years after, they are still struggling to heal. That should have been a lesson for Nigeria. Okay? And so we should now make conscious effort to propel and drive ourselves away from tribalism. Because at the end of the day, it will not help. Tell me any community or any state in this country where you don't have people of other tribes present. There may be issues that we do not accept or we don't find comfortable to embrace. Why don't we look at trashing out our differences than amplifying those things that may make us become enemies?
So what advice will you give to the Igbos? Because it seems they're always the victim. It's not about being politically motivated. Normally, if there is an issue anywhere, it could be in Abia, they are always the victims. It's either their shops are being burned down or their stuffs are being destroyed.
When you say, what advice do I have for the Igbo?
Like, what are the solutions?
You see, let me tell you, just like in Yoruba too, when crisis will start, you won't find people like me or people like you at the forefront. The people you find are what we call the miscreants, the street urchins. They are the ones you find in this thing. I mean, it's like seeing your CEO going to carry cutlass for what? But the missing link for me is public education and mass enlightenment. Continuous, sustainable, amplifying that, look, we are together. After all, whether you are Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, Fulani, Christian or Muslim or pagan, we are from one God. Maybe we call him by different names, but we agree together there's only one God. That alone should be a unifying factor. So it's not just the Igbo that needs to be spoken to. Everybody needs to be advised. We must see ourselves as brothers and sisters, not as enemy. And those who are fond of making statements that can inflame the society, they too should be called to order. See, now on the social media, on the internet, there is what they call cyberbullying. Yes. People go to jail for it elsewhere. Now, in this place, we seem to have a no consequence environment. You can do anything, you can say anything and get away with it. Perhaps when people start going to jail for instigating crisis or riots, others will behave. Your right to protest is guaranteed by the Constitution.
I was coming there. I wanted to even ask you, looking at the way it has been going for now, you know, what do you think the governor should have been saying, or even the police commissioner, to be very precise?
Well, you see, the governor is in. We can't put him on the spot in this situation.
But you won't say he's not aware of all of this is happening in the state.
I can tell you for free, I'm a friend of this government. I may not be in government, but I'm not too far from the government. And we influence things, okay, in our little ways. Efforts were being made to make sure that these things do not escalate beyond whatever had been. If you drove around Lagos on Tuesday, I was on LTV, on Radio Lagos on Tuesday. I left by 11 o'clock. By 11:30, I was right live on Unilag FM. It took me less than 28 minutes. Why? Everybody was scared of coming out. Or most of us were scared. And then the roads were free. That's not a good thing. It shouldn't be. And everywhere you see policemen, armed policemen, trying to make sure nothing happens. Let me tell you, when we create crises, when we riot, lives get lost. Some wives will lose their husband, they become widows. Some will lose their children, you know, and some will lose their investments that has taken them years to build. Some will lose their property and assets that took them decades to acquire.
So tell us, what are those preparations that the state is
I can tell you that traditional rulers, religious leaders, in their own small way, are not resting. They are consulting. Okay? They may not come out to make it public, but I can tell you they are doing something. The town hall meeting by the CP, if it was not made public, you wouldn't have known. It could have happened quietly. But I love the way people are allowed to speak out, and then he also spoke, and I'm sure that it will be an ongoing process. That way, he has opened a channel now through which grievances can be forwarded and addressed. And as I said, whoever is found to have engaged in acts capable of creating crisis, let them be arrested, investigated, tried, and if they are found guilty, let them go to jail. By the time we have 120 people serving 5-year, 10-year jail terms, nobody is saying you cannot protest, but your protest should not hinder or lead to destruction or fatalities. Handshake, when it gets to the elbow, is now wrestling. That's in society is not allowed. You can protest, but then don't let your protest lead to disorder in society. Nobody will like that. If there was no peace on the street, I will not be here. You will not be here anyway.
All right. Now I want you to respond to that soundbite we played a couple of minutes ago about the CP meeting with stakeholders. All right, ahead of the governorship election. We're talking about people in the media sphere, people who lawyers, entertainment practitioners, and what have you. What can you say, looking at this preparation? Is it really geared up in terms of handling whatever that might come up?
I can also
looking at what we just saw in the presidential election.
I can also tell you that the CP must have been working in tandem with the governor, or let me say the government. You may not see the commissioner there, you may not see any permanent secretary there, but they are not unaware of that town hall meeting. That will tell you that there's cooperation at that point. It's a good thing that these people are brought in to talk, and I love the way everybody express themselves. But we must understand that rather than taking our protest to the streets, let's take it to the courts.
Let me butt in there.
Okay.
It has always been the usual thing. They talk, and they talk.
They don't walk the talk.
They don't walk the talk.
I understand.
Because this is the same that happened in the presidential election, where you have people like this coming out to make statements how prepared they are, and at the end of the day, things went haywire.
A lot of things happened. Some people said they blame INEC chairman, and I tell them, if God in his almightiness should come and head INEC, we will blame him.
Really?
Okay, we will blame him. As far as the man was concerned, they had laid out policies, mapped out plans,
But policy doesn't
and they
work.
trained.
Policy needs
Yes,
humans.
and they've trained their people to keep the system flowing. But what happened? The people that we call fifth columnists, they stepped in and they started thwarting those efforts, negating, the plans, and then there was so much crisis. You may not believe, but none of those who are fighting, none of those who caused the mayhem were contestants. They were not contesting. They must have been engaged by somebody, or out of their own mischief. Oh, I'm the Lord in this territory. I should determine or dictate what will happen. These are some of the ways this thing happened. And that was why I said, again, I'm going to be blaming the National Orientation Agency. They are missing in action. There has been a need since for people to be enlightened, to be educated, to be informed rightly about their roles, about their rights as citizens. We are not just human beings. We are citizens of Nigeria. I move around without a passport or identification. I don't have to prove that I'm a citizen of Nigeria. You understand what I'm saying? So these are things that they should be doing, and using appropriate language, appropriate culture and tradition to pass on these messages. You can never do too much. If they had done all of that, I assure you, we will have had less of the skirmishes. Now, with this town hall that the CP had, I can assure you, a lot will have been achieved. People will now know that, hey, there's a new sheriff in town, as I said earlier on. I doesn't want this, he doesn't want that. So those who might have been planning evil against the next election, they will think twice.
Just a moment, just a moment. The whole essence of a town hall meeting was for ideas to be brought out, to be shared,
and
right?
And
if you took note, not for fun, yes. It's sacrosanct. If you took note, Falz was making salient points about law enforcement agents conniving.
We saw the videos.
Conniving with INEC officials to sabotage the process. And I was expecting the CP to respond to that. What's your reaction to that?
Oh, okay. It wasn't a debate. Okay? It was a meeting.
Sure, it was.
The essence was to collect grievances. He didn't have to react to everything that they said. But they've noted all the points that were made. And I can assure you, he must have a team that he's working with. By and by, they will address those challenges.
All right, we have a sound bite now, and then maybe after the sound bite, my colleague will throw her question to you. Just in a moment, let's go on this break.
80% or 90% of our Igbos are in support of APC. We can't give back to people who have supported us, who have accommodated us, who have provided a conducive environment for us to trade. Are you with me? So this is a moment of payback. You can't see the same people when most of the party leaders cannot do the needful. Area they cannot be able to engage. They are feeling so comfortable as business as usual. You understand? Like for instance, Lagos Island. You saw what is happening up there. The chasing of with sticks and all the rest. It's open. It's not imagination. We have already prepared to call for a press conference to talk to our people, to remain calm. They want this interactive meeting with the Commissioner of Police. We have to cancel that. So this is the best place we can be assured It's the assurance we receive here, the strong conviction we receive here is what we are going to pass to our people, both the market people, both the community where we dwell, because Lagos is ours.
Last line.
All right, that's just a soundbite there coming from an Igbo leader, someone representing the Igbos, expressing his pain, his anger, in which things have been, you know, meted out against them, and no fair treat, so to speak. We have our guest still in the studio here to respond to that, but before he does that, my colleague is actually, you know, itching to ask some questions.
Okay, so the town hall meeting.
Okay.
What are the strategies they're putting in place? Because it's different from, you know, them going to say their mind, but them putting in the strategies so the opinion of the people can be valued. Like,
as I said, it wasn't supposed to be a debate. It was a meeting.
Yeah.
And the idea was to collect information, let people express themselves, which has been done. As we are here, they will have been tactically working on how to correct or how to prevent some of those things. And I assure you, as we move on in the days, the CP, or let me say the Lagos State Police Command, will be making releases, okay, that will be assuring everybody that there will be sanity, there will be peace, and that there will be no anarchy. You understand? But as I said, off camera, people should stop making incendiary statements. You heard the man saying that we own Lagos.
You mean the Igbo man?
Yes.
Okay.
No, see, these are the I saw a newspaper, Daily Times, of 1970 or something, where that statement came up, and the governor, Mobadi Johnson, then had to say it loud and clear that some people own Lagos. You know, these are the times that this thing come up, and each time it comes up, it expands the cleavages, the difference between us, and it's not helpful to anybody. I know so many Igbos who are married to Yoruba people, and I don't know Yoruba Igbos who have joint business together. They have investments together. We have to manage these things and let everybody realize that no one tribe has the monopoly to violence. So let nobody think, oh, we'll overrun them. We shouldn't be thinking like that. Rather, we should be thinking of cooperating and growing the nation.
There is a statement he made, one of the Igbo leaders, saying that if anything happens to those who are the Igbos in Lagos, to be very precise, that they're going to hold some key people in the society, like the governor of the state.
Including you and me. I will not key.
So what's your reaction to that?
No,
that sounds a little bit harsh.
That's an insightful
that statement is unfair and it's uncharitable. Because you won't expect the governor to come out and say, we are going to kill or whatever. No, he won't do that. Either publicly or quietly. But don't now know.
They should give some consideration to them.
I said it earlier that the government, they are doing things to make sure there's no crisis. But you see, when people make volatile statements, okay, that are capable of generating emotional acrimony, that will lead to riots and protests and destruction. It's uncalled for. Not even at this time, when there's a inflamed passion and tension everywhere. Some people are bitter that the candidates did not win the election. Others are happy that, oh, our candidates won the election. That's the way competition goes. So there must be a winner and there must be a loser or losers. As I said, if you are the winner, celebrate moderately. And let those who lost, because there's a way you can celebrate, and then you will
inflict more pain.
You will aggravate the pains of the losers.
Sure.
And then those who lost, don't sit down. It is when you sit down that your loss becomes permanent. Go and recalibrate. Get your team together. Look at what you did. See what you did right or what you did wrong, and what you did that you were not supposed to have done, and those things that you didn't do that you ought to have done, and then start your planning process. We were here when PDP said they ruled Nigeria for 60 years, right? In one round of election, APC came up with their game plan and they swept PDP off the power station, okay? And you saw what happened in Lagos. Nobody, I never ever in my wildest imagination thought LP of all parties will trounce APC in Lagos, but it happened. Okay, whatever factors that might have brought it about, it has happened, and the records are there. So as we move on, and I always tell people that me and you and her, we should be the change that we want in society. Let's spread love. Let's tell people, speak to everybody you encounter. That nobody will benefit from crisis. You may think you are safe. People have stayed in their homes and stray bullets went to hit them and they lost their lives without being on the street. Who wants that? Every life lost diminishes us all as a people. And those are dreams and visions terminated abruptly.
All right, we're not done with you yet, sir. We'll be going on a short break, yes, because we're due for this break. And then when we come back, we'll be looking at the consequences or the effect of all of these crises here and there as it also applies to the state and its economy. This will come just after this break. Please stay with us.